What's up, everybody? Just first ever video. Well, second, but now currently from years old. We are going to talk about something that's kind of important to me. I've been playing Destiny for God knows how long. Since the beginning. Day one, I was there with the raids. I mean, check my stats, whatever. But there was a video that came out about basically like the decline of it. There's been multiple videos, as you guys have seen, talking about the decline of the whole space. As someone who didn't really was vocal about it and watched it, but I always had huge discussions with friends, I figured it was now time to throw my hat, I guess, into the ring and kind of put my perspective in. I'm going to be watching this video by Aztecross where a game dev kind of talks about him. They basically, long story short, they say things like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't watch it, but we're going to watch the video anyways. So you're going to see what I'm going to see. I will be pausing regularly to basically explain or to kind of give my input about it. But, if anything, you guys like what you see or any improvements you want to talk about, or even just put your opinions in, just go to the comments. I'm free to listen. I'm not here to argue though. So, all right, let's get started and check this out. All right, here we go.
Good morning, everybody, man. Cross, cover the article about yourself. You talking about the Destiny Bulletin article? Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna read an article about it. I mean, because we said it, you know where I'm coming from. But yes, there was an article that came out based on our conversation that we had with you guys the other day, where
so basically the conversation was literally just what two routes could be take with Destiny. Obviously it's gonna be right here on the screen, but also for quality purposes to make sure that it doesn't get like striked or anything. But right now, in this case, they're talking about the two routes to save Destiny, which was to make a Destiny Classic or launch Destiny 3. I personally don't think either are going to happen, but let's continue watching.
we essentially said, yeah, but I feel like Bungie has two routes to save Destiny, and both are going to be held. Either make Destiny 3 or launch a Destiny Classic, a community-run version of a game with player-voted updates similar to old-school RuneScape. So, yeah, I still stand by that. But look, there was a couple of things that got thrown out here. So Jake Parker, hi, game designer, design educator, and volunteer game dev. All for opinions from players on a game, but uninformed ultimatum opinions from a content creator about what's best for a game and its player base won't and will never work when those creators have zero clue about the messy world that is game development.
So let's just bring that back a little bit. He moves a little quick. So I hate when somebody does this whole thing when they bring out their accreditations to give out whatever opinion. Like if someone says something along the lines about a game that they think is bad, they'll say game designer, educator, volunteer game dev, and it's like, okay, so now he says he's all for opinions in the game, but under for ultimatum opinions from a content creator about what's best for a game. Mind you, content creator. This guy Aztecross been playing the game as long as I have, been in love with the game as long as I have. We have criticisms and people just kind of take that as like we either complain or like I guess what some people were like bitch. But it's like, no, we want the game to be better. The whole purpose of it is to be better. Personally, now, I don't think that would happen. I think all the complaints and focus, I think that the players, now this might be hot, but I think a lot of the content creators and also all of our vocal opinions was put into Destiny Rising. I don't think that Bungie had a control of that. I think Destiny Rising was looking at what we complained about and kind of strayed from it and gave it to us. And we kind of received snippets from Bungie because they realized that those might have been actually reasonable ideas to implement over the time. Because it took a couple of years. But like you notice that we got stuff like with the whole Arm Car with Dragon and things like that. The whole play rate, this whole thing that's going on in there. It's like a lot, like Aztecross called it MMORPG aspects, but he has a very valid point. Like it's a lot of stuff in the game. Now, granted, I played Destiny Rising, but I don't play it often because of the sole fact that it is like Genshin Impact, where it's just like, where's the money at? And yeah, Bungie was, but we played expansions, we paid for that. But I felt like there was a lot of things that they could have took and they didn't take, and they proceeded to watch Ryzen take it. And now that might be a main platform for a lot of people to play because there's in-depth story, The game types are all random. The only thing I don't like is that I'm not my own guardian. Yeah, you got your own guardian, but then it's like, no, you need this guy for this event or this one. So then it kind of creates this more of this fear of missing out concept that I think is going to only snowball in Destiny Rising. There's a lot going on in Destiny Rising. I think it's going to make it worse. But let's continue.
SC world that is game developments. So essentially what this paragraph is saying right out the gate is Cross is a dumbass. He doesn't know what the he's talking about. That's essentially what I got from that. I have no clue. Disregard the fact that we've only played this game for a decade. I've also been part of the process of development other games outside of Destiny and have been very much involved with many expansions within Destiny. And somebody even brought up the fact, somebody said Cross has only been involved with 2 expansions, Curse of Osiris and Edge of Fate. What the fuck?
Now, what always made me laugh about these kinds of people in the Twitter comments, that this is just not even just Destiny at this point. It's not even just Bungie, but a lot of it is like, I never. They always wait. They wait until they pounce and they go, "Oh yeah, he always makes horrible takes." This guy has almost 1 million subs. Now, I'm not trying to say like that's a meter, but come on, like don't say he's always missing and all this. He has a whole fan base that thinks otherwise, and he also has a fan base that will correct them if they think he's wrong. Even in this video right now, we're about to see.
Why y'all going back to Curse of Osiris? Yes, Curse of Osiris was our first time going to Bungie, but we've done other expansions outside of that, man. We've pretty much done most of them outside of what was locked down during COVID. And by us doing anything, let me just say this. There was nothing I could do with Curse of Osiris, okay? I remember we showed up to Curse of Osiris and we were like, so them double primary systems, huh? Y'all gonna change that shit? And Bungie straight up was like, nope, ain't changing a damn thing. And I remember Mr. Fruit was there too. And I like looked at Fruit and I was like,
and on top of that, like there was not much that they could do. It was already implemented at this point with Curse of Osiris and things like that. Granted, they wanted them to look at it to make tweaks. They didn't want complete overhauls or a whole system change, which could change the gaming ecosystem. Like the thing about Bungie and Destiny, there is an ecosystem involved. I do think, however, there does need to be a complete revamp. I don't think there should have been an overhaul of what we've gotten now currently this year.
And Fruit was like, dude, we fucking knew that there was no way you guys were going to be excited about Curse of Osiris. But on this right here, there's no magical flip a switch solution that will make these a reality in the short term, especially with the false fallacy of drawing results from the pursuits of other game studios far separated from different game genres and development environments. Saying other games made it work doesn't inherently create an automatic success path for the game at hand. Okay, all right. Well, I never said this was a flip a switch.
He didn't say it was a flip a switch, and it's not a flip of a switch, as well as nobody's implying a flip of the switch. They're doing these changes as a flip of a switch, I'll tell you that much, with all this enhancement crap that they did, which I'm a build crafter, like 100%. I stopped doing raids as often. I have not done the new raid at all. I did the dungeons, but I just build craft and I have fun at the end game content, just seeing what works. Like you might see me use a completely wacky build that I just wanted to use, and it works perfectly fine at the end game. That's another opinion. I think that you guys don't have to follow meta. If it works for you, it works for you. I'm not a big fan of switching loadouts in the middle of the game, things like that. But however, they make it sound like he is implying that it just has to be a change. He's willing to wait. Personally, I don't think Bungie can survive that, especially with the Sony acquisition going on. I don't know if it's acquisition, but there's a lot of things with Sony going on where they want their dividends back. You know what I mean?
I think specifically in the title of that article, it says that I said both of these options will be held. But have you looked at our player base number right now? That's your alternative. Destiny 3 is by far the most viable option. So let me get this right. You're agreeing with me or you're not agreeing with me? But even if development started today, a quality D3 build would be at least 5 to 6 years out. No shit. No fucking shit, dude. No one said that this was going to be a flip of a switch. Far beyond where players are currently determining if the current content drops are worth the wait and investment for a new installment. And the community run idea would sound good in theory, but this introduces the extreme issue of engine outdating and the dev time it would take to just make such a possibility a reality, let alone how that would impact it.
So that is true. I stopped a little early because he moves really fast, but that's very true. Again, it'll take a while for it to do both to either. And they just don't have that kind of time. There are systems that kept people playing the game that I think they need to put back. I think this might be somewhere where I might get, if I do get any views, where a comment would be against me. But I think that they need to implement putting back all the weapons back in the pool. Like find some way to like all your weapons are sunsetted and like they're basically just sitting there collecting dust right now. Granted, some people still use some of them, but there's like a multiple weapons that I've gotten even back from like day one that is now like obsolete. They need to implement those back in. Maybe allow us to repurpose them, like update them. Um, Maybe using the bill craftings table, and we can go to the table and we could update it to a current, more recent thing using that because it's lore reason why it helps us edit time. But I think they need to do that. Content wise, Portal, I just don't think it needs to stay. People liked a lot of the world aspects. I think need to be more rewarding world patrols. Like maybe put some exotic quests in them. Like imagine you hitting like an exotic quest on a planet.
An overall game build. And don't even get me started on the DCV effect in both of these ideas. When the player base is largely vocalized, there's disappointment and content paid and lost. The true reality is that Destiny 2 has reached a pivotal transition point where innovation has to take front and center within the constraints of the current dev environment. And to be completely honest, no solution they can make, however massive, will positively impact a larger community of players who choose to remain jaded in negativity and believing that Bungie can do no.
Why would we want to believe that Bungie can do no good? Like, and this is why I always stay quiet because there was always that small amount of people that will go like, no, you don't understand. Like, you guys are just complaining about everything. Are you guys serious? Come on. But we know where it was and where it could be. Like, when the Taken King came, that's all I have to say. Like, it's so, like, it has such a great idea and aspect. Even if you look at the weapons, there's not a lot of individuality. It got to a point where the weapon was just a current weapon that you probably had or use currently, but it had a different element and a different like something like when they put the grass on the weapons. I was like, I keep calling it grass, but they put leaves on the weapons, and it's like, oh, these are just all these weapons, but with leaves. Like they didn't actually have a design team. They need a better design team to make people want to go out the way to get these guns. Like one thing I am missing about the raid was the heavy crossbow. I really wanted the crossbow. Like honestly, I just wanted to get it. Granted, I got the other crossbow, but I wanted that crossbow, and I was like, no, I should have done the raid. That's missing.
Oh, good. This right here is the statement that sends me over the edge with every game developer out there. This so-called jaded community is the same community that has given you consistent highs year over year.
Exactly.
The so-called jaded community is the same community that allowed you to separate from Activision and then allowed you to get a hell of a deal with fucking Sony. That same jaded
trash.
Community. Yeah, they're a little jaded right now. You're damn right. The game is not where they wanted to be. But the fact that players are just choosing, who the f just decides to buy an expansion just to bitch about it? No, I think everyone wants to play the game and have a good time playing the game. The only thing left now is for Bungie to do everything in their power to shift their approach to content, take risks, and reward players for their time.
Okay, so that article, that post was very accurate into what I was saying. They need to do a revamp, not an overhaul. They kept revamping. It wasn't even, I wouldn't even call it revamping. It was just like decelerating, a deceleration of content. When we got to Final Shape, my thought process was, when I get to Final Shape, I'm just not, that is over. The story for me, I'm a lore build crafter guy. Once that got to the end, I was just like, and that's it. And I wanted to see what they were going to do in the future. And I know they said they were going to slow down content. And I think that was the worst idea that they possibly could have done. That wasn't the part that was broken in the game. But it felt like they kept trying to minimize the expectation instead of just giving us the quality that they've been given, which they've been given for, brother, I was like 21 when this came out. Like I'm freaking old as cheese now. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, we got that content. That wasn't the problem. I know that they think that, okay, when the big hype comes down, then we got the slow down content. But that's every game. Every game is that way. I hate to do the thing where everybody goes, oh, well, look at Warframe. But exactly, look at Warframe. Like, you play that, a new Warframe comes out, like every other week at this point. But you play it and the content slows down. You do the story, and then all you do is grind after. You can nitpick and hate all you want, but you sound like how we do with being jaded.
So essentially, your option here, Jake, is do the same goddamn thing we've been doing. This is what the same thing is doing for us. Let's see if it works out. I love Glad's reply to this. Nah, fuck all that. Just make D3. We will wait. I get it. Making video games is difficult. So is a lot of other shit. And let me just say this. I know I got some game developers in here right now. I have seen so many posts over the past, like, I would say year, talking about just how difficult it is to make a video game. But for every game developer out there that's trying to tell the world how difficult their job is, there's another game developer right around the corner who's working their ass off, okay? Who's got their head down and they cooking. You've seen it?
You see it all the time in Baldur's Gate. Like, again, another time when people get mad when you bring it up. But it happens every time. The devs go, we can't do that anymore. Then they proceed to do that. I've been playing games since I was about 4. Like, games have always been about having fun and meeting the expectation for a player to have fun. When you tell somebody they're going to cut back on the fun, but then proceed to make all this money and the game is constantly increasing. Like, the game economy is constantly increasing. Like, games are making billions of dollars. One single game can make $1 billion now. Back then, they had just the devs in the game. They wanted to make it fun. But I remember watching G4 TV with Electric Playground, Portal. I was watching all these shows as a kid, and I remember just loving to see each game where they just wanted to show you an experience that you may have not had before.
From game developers like the one who recently just made Megabonk and sold over 1 million copies, and he was a solo dev. You've also seen this from developers that made Expedition 33. Look, I completely understand that any art form is difficult. Hell, being seen, being heard, especially with competition out there, it's difficult. Of course it is. But at the end of the day, the only thing players care about is whether or not your game is fun to play. That's it. As with anything else in life, you go and watch a movie, you don't walk away from that movie going, it was a pretty bad movie, but it was, their budget wasn't that high. You know what I'm coming from? No, it's very binary. It's
like, yeah, that movie was trash. But they worked so hard. You gotta respect that they worked so hard. Yeah, I know there was a lot of inconsistencies, but they was working on a tight schedule. Nobody does that anywhere.
Very black or white there. Was it a good movie? Yes or no? And the whole concept of things being too difficult, how is that supposed to help your product? Or how is that supposed to help whatever service you offer? Do you think my CPA calls me on tax day and I pick up the phone, he goes, Prof, being a CPA is difficult. Okay, Kevin, what the and are you filing my taxes or not? What am I supposed to do with this information? Look, you can apply this to so many different other jobs too. If I go to a damn doctor, I got to get an operation done, and they suddenly stop in the middle explaining the operation to me and go, being a surgeon is difficult. I'm going to look at them and be like, I don't know if I want you to cut me open. If you're having this come to Jesus moment right now. Yes, game development.
So, and then that's the thing, right? Like, they'll say that. So you get this, like, educator, game dev here. But they don't complain, and this is a lot of problems that I have. Like, everybody works, we all work, we all gotta, well, every normal citizen of whatever country, wherever you're from, you work. If you stop working, everything goes bad. So you're always gonna make sure you give the quality, regardless of how hard your job is, you're working at that job. You can put whatever money you have, but when you look at a game dev and you speak to a game dev in reality, they talk about the money they got, the free trips, the little parties they get, the celebrities they meet. They're on the other end. They're on the influencer end, in my personal opinion. Granted, there's influencers like Stardew Valley ruling out. Stardew Valley, one of the better games. Like, I have it on every console. One of the better games ever. But you still wouldn't see him complaining. He just did his thing and worked his butt off. These guys are in $1 million companies with large teams. Yeah, they cut down, but you still have the promised quality when you cut down to them. The same exact quality. That's what the same problem that we have with fast food or even food in general. Food don't taste the same like it did before, and we go, well, that's not right. And then they go, we have to make cuts. Like, no, but you should still give that same product quality.
Development is difficult, okay? As someone who has seen it firsthand, not just from Destiny, but from other games that we have been a part of and their launches, it is I know it is. But that's just entertainment as a whole. People want to be wowed. And there is the lowest of lows and the highest of highs. There are games that ball the fuck out. To steer this back to what we're talking about, though, in regards to Destiny, I'm not seeing a solution at all with what Jake is offering here, other than Bungie should just do what they're doing right now. Innovate.
Yeah, solution is just the only thing left now for Bungie to do their power shift approach. He's right, but they won't if you're not saying anything and they don't know what they're shifting to. You just want them to just take random risk. That's what we're here for.
Within Destiny 2. And in my opinion, I think so many people have left, not just because they're jaded, but because they experienced the final shape and that was their send-off. Optics are important. There's a reason why sequels occur. There's a reason why Borderlands put out another game. But why is it that we're giving Bungie an out on this? Why is it that when you look at a sequel for another game, whether it was Borderlands, or even if you go back to what Bungie used to do way back in the day with Halos, why is it that we look at those sequels and we expect that next product to truly wow us, but when it comes to Bungie now, we go, man, they can't do it. It's not possible. As a community, we're not supposed to make excuses for why you can or can't deliver. You either can or you can't. And your game is either good or it's not. And gamers will go to where the good games are. It ain't nothing personal. It doesn't mean that we don't think your job is hard. It's just the reality of it. Anyways, just my thoughts, man. We, the jaded community. Ain't many of us. I'm gonna be honest, dude. Our jaded asses, we the only ones here.
Just us 15,000. I literally just got off like yesterday to do it.
I'm just saying. Even when things were better, they were still whining and complaining in the community. Yeah. Yes, you were right. They were still whining and complaining in the community. But this number right here was a little over 300,000 concurrent on Steam, which means lots of more money. Now,
that also means, again, it was enough players. And like he said, when the money goes down, well, he's also going to imply, but the money goes down and what, you going to keep playing? Like, that doesn't justify anything you said. Like, there was still more people okay with what was going on, but then they start to realize, hey, these guys were right. Why couldn't it be that all these people thought that they were right? Or maybe this is the case. When the things were better, there was still things happening in the game that people would have thought like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Or, hey, that's actually not fair. We still want the game to be progressing. What do you mean? So when the game just gets to one point, that's it? So we should just go back to whatever pinnacle time you thought it was, because I don't remember a fully good day as much as Forsaken, like Witch Queen, maybe. Witch Queen, maybe. Like, I had a blast. Forsaken, I had a blast. But like, even starting over when they said Destiny 2 was coming out, I had to start over from the beginning. And I was just like, I don't know about that. Even with him implying Destiny 3, I'm like, But again, hey, it's a new game. What can I do?
Now you just got a very jaded, whiny, complaining community with no money. That makes it way worse. Nothing like being yelled at and then being broke at the same time. But the point is, if you are expecting Destiny 2, look, I will bet my fucking account on this. I will bet my vault in order to retake previous highs. When I say highs, the previous Lightfall / Final Shape highs, you're not going to be able to do it under Destiny 2. Just my opinion, guys. Just my opinion. Again, I'm a content.
Also, I'll go back. Final Shape, I actually generally had a good time. In the story, I felt like they could do that all the time. Like, honestly. It doesn't even have to be a new location. Just more exotic quests in maybe different areas. Even when you play these games, like some of the dialogue, you can see it's old dialogue from years ago.
Greater. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I don't think it's going to happen under Destiny 2's umbrella. Why do we need those highs? Well, I guess you don't, but Bungie definitely does.
Right. We need those highs because they give content creators something to do, money to the player base, in order to continue the content, as well as that's when you have fun. What are you talking about?
Bungie definitely does. Let me just say this. Go to your job right now. Pick up your paycheck. Tomorrow's going to be Friday. Pick up your paycheck on Friday. And then just look at that check and go, what if this was just a third of what it was? Or what it is? Let me just cut that down to 1/3. That's the world that Bungie is living in. And you tell me if it matters or not to you. Look, I get it. Neither one of my solutions is easy. So let me go ahead and re-clarify the 3 solutions in my eyes. Solution 1, Destiny Classic. I don't know. I'm a bit biased on it, but That's the RuneScape
I don't
talking
think
to me.
that'll
You don't
happen.
have to go that route if you don't want to. Destiny 3. Now that's if done right, and it has to be done right, or you're gonna kill everything. Destiny 3 though, both of these options are years out, especially a D3. Or do what the f we're doing now. We'll see how that goes. So you just want to regrind the same shit? See, that's what's wrong with you guys.
So before they get to that, before you answer that question, I think there's a fourth option. Like I said, go back, revamp, like, you know, roll back a lot of these changes that you did. Take out this portal nonsense. Implement that. Actually, make it a planet or part of the location of where we are right now currently. Even you guys implied that we were traveling onto the edge of the solar system. Just make a little circle on the map. Add location. Put exotic quests and maybe in the older maps. I would say work on bringing back all the older items. I know they said they deleted it, but I'm sure they can just easily roll that back and get it back as well. Personally, I'm on the end of let all the content come back. People are like, oh, it's going to be gigabytes. People got Call of Duty. People have Call of Duty, Battlefield. Like, these games have high gigabytes, and they all play just fine. As well as they also can be broken apart. Some people that want the whole experience, they're going to have everything. Other people know there's so many raids and content that we could go back and backtrack and play that would keep people locked in, especially if you add new perk systems to them every time or do something different to them.
You've been beaten down and abused for too many years. You don't even anticipate that a sequel would bring you new shit. You understand that? You've been beaten down this long that you already accept it's just gonna be all the old shit. You know where I'm coming from? God damn, we need therapy. Y'all know that? We need that therapist, like, soon. Your solutions are ass. The community can't even handle a week with no new content. Imagine 3, 4, 5, 6 years waiting for a D3. Yeah. I'd rather something come out and be perfect. I'd rather wait a decade for that shit than having to.
I'd rather they go back and revamp it again, and then with that money or whatever they're doing, then work on that maybe behind the scenes. But I don't think that a 3 or a classic is necessary outside of just making a better thing. Well, add a new big baddie with new lore. At least, like, everybody had a reason to stay. Build crafters had something at a time. Lore people, PvP. Like, there's a lot of things. If they just listened, I think that it will repair a lot of the community's good faith in the company.
To trudge through the mud and watch something that I love die a slow, painful death. And look, for my people saying what's going to happen to the community having to wait all those years, well, most of them have already quit anyways. And secondly, I'm sure there would be a lot of anticipation. The best time to have started making a D3 was 3-4 years ago. The second best time to start making it is fucking now. D3 is not happening. Oh, it probably won't happen. It probably won't, fellas. I'm saying all this stuff knowing that the likelihood of a D3 or a Destiny Classic will probably never happen. Okay, we're probably still we're gonna go through this entire process. We're gonna look at Renegades. We're gonna play Star Wars Destiny Hybrid. You're gonna get a lightsaber. We're going to get into next year's DLC, which will be probably similar to Edge of Fate. The narrative will probably be good, but I'm just saying, don't be surprised if we continue to make year over year lower lows. That's all I'm.
I think the narrative is just going to be Scorn, and then the year after that's going to be Hive, like they just showed us in the seasonals. Also, I think everybody is waiting for. There's nothing to do. They're just waiting for Renegades, and I think that's also going to show for Bungie why they shouldn't use this play model. To have 5 people playing for months, not buying anything from Eververse, not keeping the play count up, nothing, and then they just come back and go, all right, look, now you can play this big chunk of game. All right, now go back to that again.
I'm saying, and we go this entire process over the next few years. We'll see what shakes out. When the Shiva jaded. Dude, no one here is being jaded, brother. Look at the fucking numbers. Look at the numbers right now. Dude, if I would have saw these numbers, back during Witch Queen or Light, I would have fucking threw up. You hear me? I would have fucking just vomited on the spot. How? When you say we're jaded.
And remember, everybody was scared in Lightfall when this happened.
People are not jaded. They're not here. They're no longer here. What the f you mean jaded? They're gone. They playing other shit. Ask yourself, even all the people that used to even make videos on Destiny, they're not here. Yeah. They out. They're gone, man. So guess what? Everyone that says that this is such a jaded community, you'll get down to the final 1,000. And the 1,000 or however many of you are going to be so positive. And I hope you guys have enough to pay the bills. Slap that like button like
So and it's like, okay, so now with the video being over, it's like I said before. I tell my friends this all the time. Okay, then have fun playing on a private server with the old content where it's just Call of Duty again, like how we do with all these other games, where it's like the game shut down, but the gamers still want it. So they made their own little private servers in the background, and then there's no quality improvement, it's just the same nonsense. There'd be like the little 5 people that play. Granted, some of these things do have big communities, like Call of Duty, but with Destiny, how long can you collect the same content? They're not going to do that. Call of Duty has PvP. Destiny is, they wanted to be a basic competitive gamer for a long time. Could not do it, and I think that's another thing that they need to tackle. So they get some people involved. Maybe not allow so much variety, but I don't know. Either way, these games, I'm like, okay, we'll have fun with your private server later when none of us can play it except the 5 people that want to. And it's like again, no hate towards the game. I love the game for years. I've watched it on and off. I literally, well, continuously until I got the Shadow Keep, and I got really mad and then just didn't play. But again, I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation. I personally agree with him wholeheartedly. Outside of the whole making a 3, I think a 3 should be made, but in the background. But it should be basically backtracked, and they should focus on PvP management, adding new game types, fixing Gambit. There's a whole game type that they just are refusing to even just like touch. I mean, they did some improvements, but come on, man, seriously, like they had a good idea, especially Pathfinder. I think Pathfinder was way better than what we got right now, personally. And they should keep the weeklies, give back the vendor. There's a bunch of things I'll probably add in another video if this gets traction. Either way, this is not just going to be a Destiny channel. Listen, wanted to be no, but this is not going to be a Destiny channel. Just something I want to discuss as like maybe my first video. All right, and thanks for watching. Subscribe, like it, share it with a friend. Have a little conversation at the bottom. I'll definitely talk to you. And thanks. Peace out.